You have the food truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what's the schedule? I know you do pop-ups and, certain events and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how would you compare those two? And is the food truck, is it more freedom? You ain't so really tied down and you can kind of move around?
Yeah, definitely. So first, shout out to my business partner, Michelle. She's amazing. She has a beautiful family. They all chip in. Everybody helps with the food truck.
Okay.
It's real out here in these streets.
The streets of Vegas.
All right. Welcome to the Streets of Vegas, episode 111. My guest today is Chef Stacey Dougan. We broadcasting live from Vegas Hype Media Network, the premier podcast studio. My man Quan on the board. Shout out to Quan. How you doing today, Stacey? Appreciate you stopping by. How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Thank you for taking time. I'm doing good. Thank you for taking time out your day to stop through. I really appreciate your presence. So Chef Stacey, let's give a little bit of background about it. Chef Stacey Dougan is a globally revered plant-based chef, restaurateur, and mother who has successfully combined the art of culinary vegan cuisine with the skill of entrepreneurship. She has been a vegan chef and raw living food nutritionist for over 2 decades. Chef Stacey was the founder and executive chef of Simply Pure Vegan Cafe, the second plant-based restaurant to open in Las Vegas. Her impressive culinary background includes training with James Beard, award-winning chefs, and creating meals for celebrity clients such as Bill Clinton, New Jersey State Senator Cory Booker, artist Usher, and Erykah Badu. Chef Stacey is a cannabis consumer and advocate. She creates plant-based cannabis-infused dining experiences and created a line of premium plant-based edibles and recipes designed for optimum health. It's a lot to pack in.
That sounds good.
That's like a big sandwich. That's like a plant-based sandwich, all that. Such an impressive resume. I've been following you for a little while. It seems like you've done so much in such a small amount of time. Like I said, I really appreciate you coming on to the show. So we just want to kind of delve into your background and a little bit how you got started, where you from, you know what I mean? A little bit, stuff like that. So where are you originally from?
Originally born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. Shout out to the D.
Shout out to the D. Yes, shout out to the D. I got people in the D myself. My father's side of the town is from the D. And so would that be, we're from, my people from Michigan. Where you from?
Detroit.
Detroit, okay.
Yeah,
Detroit, I mean Detroit.
Like Detroit proper.
Okay,
yeah, that was my address.
Because I know we was talking about Belle Isle Park.
Belle Isle, that was the
okay.
hangout spot for sure.
Okay.
My mother's from Flint, actually. My mother, my dad was born and raised in Detroit. My mom's from Flint, and they met in college at U of M. So
how far is Flint from Detroit?
About an hour drive, 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay, not too bad. You still got people up there?
I do.
Really?
Yeah.
When's the last time you've been back home?
2019. So it's time. I may go this year. My mother's there now. She's been there pretty much the whole summer taking care of her sister. So so we may go down there in the next month or so and you go see what's going on.
See what's up. Yeah. So you went there pre-COVID then, huh?
I did. The last time I visited was pre-COVID.
Okay, yeah. Well, ain't that crazy? Everything is like BC and AC before COVID and after COVID.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
That's crazy. And Flint is where they had all the water issues and all that stuff like that.
Unfortunately,
has it gotten any better yet?
I mean, it's better, but it's still not completely rectified. So that's a sore spot for sure.
It is, yeah. That's crazy. Hopefully they'll do some things and tighten that up, man. Tighten that up. So what brought you to Vegas? How did you get way out west out here?
So my parents. So when I was going into 9th grade, my parents moved here. My father was an OBGYN and he had his own practice in Detroit, and he decided to move us here. So we moved here. Me, him, my mom, and my brother. My brother's about 7 years younger than me.
Oh, okay.
And
so you the big sister.
I'm the big sister, yes. And we came here in 1990. And
Really?
so, I was here for
okay.
4 years. I went to high school here. I went to Cimarron.
Cimarron, okay. That's probably when was it fairly new?
It was brand new.
Brand,
like
okay.
literally,
So you was probably the first graduating class.
That was a third graduating class. Yeah, because I started I went to Brindley first.
Okay.
Which is it was at that time it was like 6th to 9th grade.
Okay.
And then I went to Cimarron. So Cimarron was dope. It was dope because we were able to pick like the mascot, our colors, all of that stuff.
Everything.
And so
like,
it was brand new. So that was dope. So graduated from Cimarron, and then I moved immediately to Atlanta, and I went to Spelman.
Really?
For 4 years.
Spelman. The Spelman on the Cosby Show. That's
Yeah.
How was that, man?
It was great. Like that was the only school I applied to. I knew I was going to Spelman.
Is that considered a HBCU?
It's definitely an HBCU. All women. And then you have Morehouse across the street, which is all men. Then you have Clark Atlanta, and you have.
I never
Morris
knew
Brown.
it was set up like that.
Yeah,
I came out here in '91, so we kind of been out here almost the same amount of time.
Yeah.
It's crazy because people say, when I tell them I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky, but I left Louisville when I was 19.
Oh,
and
wow.
I've been out here 31 years, so I've been out here longer than I've been from back home.
Wow.
So people are like, hey, man, you remember? I said, dude, I've been gone 30 years,
right.
bro. Like, I don't remember nothing. You know what
exactly.
I mean? Like, it's been too long.
You go back to visit?
Yeah, not as much. I try to go back every year. I haven't been back. My father passed 2 years ago, so I haven't been back since then. But I still got a brother and sisters and stuff down there too.
Okay.
So, but I need to get back. It's good to just plug in every now and then. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's certain stuff you can't get everywhere that you can get back home. You know what I mean? Like White Castles, Grippo, potato chip. You know what I mean? White Castle.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't had it in years.
I know.
They have vegan. They have vegan burgers now.
Do they?
White Castle does. Yeah, they have a White Castle right down the street.
I know they got one downtown. I never heard they had vegan burgers.
It's good. They're good too.
Wow, I would have never thought that.
I might have to go over there after this is over.
The little joints, you know what I mean?
They got the little vegan burger. They got vegan everything now.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
They sure do.
Yeah, so. And what do you think about that the new vegan kind of like explosion? Because I know it's been growing and it's been emerging. I know a lot of companies are kind of getting into the space. A lot of fast food restaurants are getting into this space. But you being in it long as have you seen, what do you think caused just the growth of it like that?
I think people just wanted something, different. I knew it was inevitable. I've been a plant-based chef for over 2 decades, really 23 years. So when I started, and Simply Pure, the restaurant that I had here was actually my second restaurant. The first one I opened in Atlanta was called Everlasting Life.
Oh, so you was doing something down there too?
Yeah, I started in Atlanta after I graduated from college. My background is in music and entertainment.
Wow.
So I was doing artist development for Universal Music Group, and at
good
that
old
time,
A&R. Good old A&R. Yeah, they don't even have that no more.
I wasn't on the A&R side. I was more on the marketing side. So the A&R is like the ones that help put the albums together.
Okay, so you was more the
artists together.
I got you.
After all that was done, then the project came to me to do the marketing promotions. So I was doing more marketing promotions in the southwest, southeast region of the U.S. So I was based in Atlanta.
Outkast, Goody Mob, that whole era, like
that whole era. And I was in
whole
Atlanta during that time. I was in Atlanta for like 14 years. So it was during that time when Outkast was coming out, Goody Mob. CeeLo and I used to be really good friends too. Like I went to his wedding and everything.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's when like Atlanta was like the hub, the mecca, like of it was all like Outkast
was coming up.
Eclectic. They was different. Yeah,
Ludacris. Andre used to come to my restaurant.
Really?
It was wild. That's how I met Erykah Badu because that's how Common. I used to cook for him. That's how I met.
Did you go to the
artists.
Erykah Badu show that was out here recently?
I did not go to that one only because I've gone to so many shows and I've seen it so many times. But I love Erykah. Like she's great. She's great. And usually when she comes to the city, she reaches out. She didn't reach out this time, but I think she had a lot going on. But usually I wish I'd have known
because I had a guy that was doing the promotion here and he called me up and said, hey, he had 2 tickets. And I'm like, man, my wife's out of town. I don't want to go dolo.
Yeah. I could have gave. I wasn't available to go that night.
Yeah, I think it was like a Friday night or something like it was MGM. It looked like it was pretty big.
I've seen Erykah more times than any other artist.
Really?
I've probably seen Erykah perform like 10 times.
So you didn't see the whole thing?
I've seen the whole thing, but I would go again, of course. It's just that I was busy.
It's an experience though too, huh?
Erykah's great, and she is who she is. Like she eats She eats clean. She don't mix fruits and
None of
vegetables.
that?
She's that's why she looked the way she looked. She's like 54.
Really?
53, something like that. 53.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
amazing. But so I started doing that, and then at that time I had some business partners that wanted to open a vegan restaurant, and so I invested in a vegan restaurant first because I'm an entrepreneur first and a chef second.
Okay.
I always tell people that. So
get that straight. That's good though.
Right.
To have that mindset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To have that mindset. Yeah.
So I was investing in a restaurant and a business that I thought was good for the Atlanta market because there was nothing like that then. This was back in like early 2000s.
Nothing like that.
Nothing like that. And so then I started healing myself because I used to have eczema really bad, really bad. Like all my skin was horrible. And then I used to get colds and things like that, get sick all the time. You know, you got mucus. And so I just started learning how to heal my body through food, especially raw food. And then I just morphed into being a chef. I was like, okay, I didn't go to school. I just kind of got in. I was trying to save my investment. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to save my money. So I was like, I got to go in here and learn how to figure out how to cook, figure this out. So I had different chefs that I hired to come and help me with raw food recipes.
And you would learn from them.
And I
stuff
would
like
learn
that?
from them, books, videos, whatever was out.
It's a lot of information out there.
Yeah, I mean, back then it wasn't so much, but like I said, we were doing raw. So raw food is nothing that's cooked over 115 degrees.
Yeah, because you kill the enzymes and the nutrients. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's why I like, even now, I like my vegetables kind of almost like al dente, just hit them a little bit. I don't like them like overcooked where
Mushy.
it kills it.
Right,
Yeah,
so you
I
don't
can't
have none of
stand
the
them like
nutrients
that.
anymore.
So what started your vegan journey? I know you said you had the eczema, but like what really jump started and really got you going
So
on it? Like,
I was blessed to have a mother and a father that had the foresight to send me to a school from kindergarten to 8th grade that served vegan lunches.
What?
Served
Even back then?
Yeah. So from kindergarten to 8th grade, I went to a school called Nataki Taliba in Detroit.
Okay.
It was a private West African based school, and the principal would give us vegetarian lunches. So this was back in like the early 80s.
Wow.
So my
That's
mother is
unheard
always
of.
really big on us eating healthy. So like we would have tofu stir fry, and I had
so you got
friends
introduced
who
to it early, huh?
very
Okay.
very early. So I really don't know a life without incorporating plant-based food.
So you
Now, I
already
did
had a
eat-
palate for it, really.
Exactly. And I did eat meat. We ate meat also, but I quickly learned that meat didn't agree with me. So I preferred, like even when I was younger, I preferred vegan hot dogs over regular hot dogs. I used to tell my mother, I don't want the regular hot, I want the vegan one, the vegetarian ones. And
That's so
as
crazy.
I got older, it just kind of morphed into, okay, this makes sense for me. And so when the opportunity came again to open up the vegan restaurant, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this makes sense. In Atlanta, and they did all vegan as well.
Hebrew, as far as like
Israelites.
Hebrew Israelites. Okay, so they was real serious about their eating
Real
and stuff
serious
like that.
about it,
Okay,
and their
okay.
food was amazing. It's called they have restaurants, a bunch of restaurants called Soul Vegetarian.
Okay,
And
is anything out here?
nothing out here. They
okay.
had in Atlanta. I know they had 2 in Atlanta. I think the 2 are still open. Maybe I know 1 is still open. They had Chicago location. They had
Okay.
different locations, but the food was so amazing. Like I was
Really?
like, you can have macaroni and cheese, and you ain't got to use cheese. So I learned a lot about how to cook through them. So I already was familiar with the lifestyle.
Okay.
But then when I got connected with the Hebrew Israelite community, that's when I really started honing my skills and learning.
I never known them to be healthy. Like
It's different sectors of Hebrew Israelite
okay,
community.
because some
So
of the
this
dudes I see
Israelite
on the corner be out of
Yeah,
shape
yeah.
and be hollering.
Yeah, yeah.
And
No, not
I'm
them,
like,
not them.
okay, not
not them, not them. These
Okay.
are actually Hebrew Israelites who actually were living in Israel as well. This is
okay,
this
really?
is
Okay.
the largest resettlement of Hebrews who went from the United States to Israel, and they still live there. I think they're like 5 or 6 generations in right
Really?
now.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not really part of the community anymore. I was there. I was a part of it for about 10 years.
Okay.
But that's when I really honed my skills and learned. Like
so you
the
got to learn a
importance of
lot
eating.
from their cooks and their chefs and stuff
A
like
lot,
that.
yeah. From the women, like even how to take care of a household, how to clean, how to take care of a child,
yes.
how
like,
I learned all
to
of
be
that.
domesticated, to be what it means to be a real woman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
to be a
important.
woman.
I know
it
these
is,
women
yeah.
nowadays ain't into cooking and cleaning, but I'm
Right.
like,
And then you know what's so crazy? They'll brag about it.
yeah, it's not.
I ain't
that's
cooking.
not- Right.
Okay, well,
That's
you
not
ain't gonna have
cool.
too many options.
You
You
ain't
know what I mean?
right.
Yeah, I mean, you really ain't gonna have too many
yeah.
options
You gotta learn
because
how to do something. I'm not saying you
because your
gotta be a
looks gonna
chef.
play out. You know what I mean? Like, what do you really bring tangible to the table
That
other than
part.
a big butt and what all? You know what I mean? Like, what else can you bring to that? That's good that
Right.
you learned that early though. That I mean, that's phenomenal. That is
Yeah.
phenomenal. You know, so okay, you was in Atlanta for how many years? You said about 14 years?
14 years.
Really? That's
and then
a long
after I
time.
moved from Atlanta, I moved to Chicago because I was, at that time, I was working for an ambassador. He was an ambassador from Chicago too. He was a part of the Hebrew community, but he was like doing business deals all over the world. So he had moved to Ghana, and I was working for him. I was his personal chef in Chicago.
Wow, how hard you to like come along with him and everything?
Yeah, so he went to Ghana, and then he called for me because he couldn't find anybody to cook for him because I was literally cooking all his meals. And so
I wish I had those kind of problems.
Right? And so he was like, you know, I need you to come to Ghana. And I was only supposed to come to Ghana, go to Ghana for like 10 years. I mean, 10 days. End up staying 2 years. So from 2007 to about 2009, like right in the middle of 2009, I was in Ghana, and then I moved back here. So it's funny now because everybody's going to Ghana, you know.
I hear a lot
that's
of
like
people
a big
going,
thing. And so I am now being called to go back to Ghana, but I closed out. I wasn't coming back to the United States to live.
What was it like over there, man? I heard it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. It's like when I stepped down on the soil, on the land, I was like, oh, I'm home. This is like home. And then I actually found out that my last name Dougan is Ghanaian, like Fanti. Because people used to always tell me I looked African because of my features. And
so you kind of got, I can see that.
Yeah, so people thought when I was in Ghana, they were like, oh, you look Fanti. And they used to talk to me in like
Fanti
trees.
is like what?
It's a tribe.
It's a tribe.
It's a tribe in Cape Coast. That's right. Well, Cape Coast is where one of the slave dungeons, where the major slave ports is. Okay. And so they were like, and so when they found out my last name was Dougan, they were like, oh, your people down in Cape Coast. And so I went down to Cape Coast, and it's a bunch of Dougans down there that spell their name the same way I spell mine.
And then crazy is that?
Yeah, and my dad's side of the family is actually from my grandfather's from the Virgin Islands. So, you know, that slave trade
that whole
was all a part. So that makes sense that my people would come. So going to Ghana was very spiritual for me because it helped me find me find my people. I was like, wow, this is like where I'm from.
And then look how it happened, how it like you was like in your purpose, and the way it happened, it was like it happened so organically. You know, no pun intended, but it happened organically. He was like, that it connected me to my roots.
To my roots. So you just gotta follow. That's why I tell people you just gotta follow your path. You know, follow the path of least resistance. Follow your path. Stay in alignment. And
it's a natural path. It's not nothing that like outside of. You know what I mean? Like
it was all natural. Yeah, and as soon as I hit the ground, I was like, whoa. Something
you could feel it?
Yes, literally something in, like there was like a jolt. I was like, and I knew I wasn't coming back.
Really? You weren't going to come back to the States?
Yeah, I knew it. Wow. I knew it. When I was there for like a day, maybe 2 days, and I was like, I'm not going back. I was like, and I started planning, okay, how do I close out? And I didn't have anything. I mean, at that time, I'm, you know, my early 30s, 20s, I think early 30s. So
you really could have set it up like that if you really wanted to.
Right. I didn't have no kids, so it wasn't like I had any connection to here. And plus, my boss was in Ghana. The person was paying me.
Right there. Yeah, you know. Yeah. That is amazing.
It was amazing.
So you really never had a regular job outside of being a chef or nothing like that?
I worked at the Wynn.
Okay, just a little something to kind of...
to get me back on, like when I came back here, I needed something to get me back on my feet. So I was doing cooking classes at Whole Foods, but I was doing them for free. So I worked at the Wynn when Steve Wynn was like trying to do, you know, he was switching everything over to vegan. I don't know if you remember that
he
time,
was doing that? He did it? Really?
There was a time when he became vegan himself, and he started incorporating vegan dishes and stuff into his restaurants in the Wynn, and so that's why I applied there. And so I told them, I'm like, I'm a vegan chef. I come, you know, I want to come and you know do my thing. And I ended up the chefs there ended up not being so receptive to veganism. I worked in the catering and banquet space.
They probably wasn't up on that then. But you were still kind of in your lane doing.
I still had my outside business going, but what the Wynn brought me was like that 5-star, 5 dining touch. You know, so I didn't know that side.
So you could put that on your tool belt now. Yeah.
So now that's why I was telling you about the cannabis infused dining experiences that I do now with the the fine dining, because I have that experience.
You got that experience to really lay it out to be 5-star blown.
Right. So we're bringing the sophistication to plant based. You know, the sophistication and the class to plant based and veganism. So that's kind of like where, you know, that training came in. So it's been a whole circle. So I have had regular jobs before. I don't stay very long though.
But it ain't like you did nothing outside of cooking. Ain't like you went there and did like housekeeping and there was something in your lanes.
It's been cooking for 23 years.
That's phenomenal. That really is phenomenal.
Thank you.
Yeah. How did that name Simply Pure? How did that evolve? How did that come about? Like
my good friend Ethan, he's a master. Y'all look up Ethan Payne Creative. Shout out to him. He lives in Miami. He's back and forth between Miami and England. We've been friends for like 25 years.
Okay.
And he's a master marketer, and he did my logo. So when I was trying to come up with a name, I reached out on Instagram to some friends and people and stuff, and then he was like, we got to be something, it got to represent. And so we just came up with the name, he and I together, Simply Pure.
Something that stuck, something that was original.
Yep. And then he's like, you got to put your name on it. So it's Simply Pure by Chef Stacey.
Yeah, I like that.
Because he was like, you got to brand yourself. You the brand. He still does all of my stuff.
Kind of attach a personality to a brand.
Right.
Almost. You don't just want to be a nameless, faceless brand. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You got to kind of,
And I wanted to be I represent the brand. Like I'm plant-based, I'm pretty healthy. So, it was a good move. So that's how we came up with it. It was simple. The first logo he did was the first one. I mean, he knew exactly he knows me so well. So
said this will work right here. Yeah.
It was great. Yeah.
I can't remember how I first found out about you, but I told you I brought a friend from Kentucky, and we went there. It was just, the experience was just, it was great, man. It was phenomenal. And it was our first time. He's like, man, I love this place. How did that whole thing develop? What made you decide to move in a container park? Because that was probably when it was first putting together, right? So how did you have that foresight to get down to Container Park?
So at the time, I don't know if you remember Tony Shea.
Yeah, I remember when he invested all the money downtown. Okay,
yes. Tony Shea was the brainchild behind, the whole downtown revitalization project. But prior to Container Park opening, I was catering out of his apartment because there were different companies that would hire me to do catering. So that's how I met Tony Shea, before the Container Park. So I was already in the downtown project.
Thing and all
I was already in that space. I was doing catering out of the Ogden. His apartment was in the Ogden. And so when they got ready to open the Container Park, they asked me if I wanted to open up a place. And I was like, yeah, why not? And so they made the process so easy.
Did he invest in it?
He did. Oh, yeah, like 350. Well, I know for the whole downtown project, it was like $350 million. But in the Container Park, he built the Container Park.
What a look that was, man.
So
wow.
It was pretty organic. So I didn't have to fill out an application or anything. I was already in there.
No, you was in there.
And they gave me a loan to open up to do it. I had to borrow probably about $15,000, and then they gave me a loan for like another $20,000, and they didn't take any percentage. They said
nothing.
They said they put me on a little payment plan, and they did everything. That was the easiest opening. The health department, I didn't have to go down to the health department.
None of that?
Literally, it was crazy.
God,
I was like,
and
wow.
I think that was such an integral part of downtown, that revitalization, because it was hip, it was current, so they needed that staple in downtown to make it, kind of modernize it.
Really
so it was a good look.
It was definitely it was a good time to be a part of that project.
When that happened, did you feel you was ready for it? Like, you had opened a restaurant before. So
I had a restaurant before, so I was definitely ready. And like I said, they made the process so easy. I was shocked at how much responsibility they took on. But the whole purpose was to take small business owners and put them in an incubator to help their brand, and then eventually have them move out. So that's why a lot of people were like, well, why did you close Simply Pure? And I'm like, because it was never designed for us to be
long
there.
Term.
I was actually there a long time.
Like 7 years, right?
Seven and a half years.
Wow,
really, they were talking about like maybe 4 years you stay there, but I stayed there 7.5. And so, people were like, well, did you close the restaurant because of COVID? I'm like, no, because it was time for me to go.
It was time to move on.
Right. And there's only so much growth you can have in a 300 square foot space.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
So,
yeah. And I'm always a big advocate of not overstaying my season in anything. You know what I mean? You don't want to be told when to go. Hey, it's time.
Right.
You might want to move on. I want to, be see it enough to be like, okay, it's time to go.
Right,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
You know, my mother
Yeah.
always say, go out the front for they ask you out the back.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
So
Yeah.
let me go and walk out the
And
front door.
It's funny because I actually did. So at around year 3.5, year 4,
Mm-hmm.
I actually was not able to. Like, I started having really bad financial issues with the restaurant, and I was going to close. The container
Really?
bar actually gave me a eviction notice. They didn't put it on the
Golly.
door. They sent me an email saying I
Okay.
had to go.
Was it just like a dip in sales, you think? Or what?
A dip in sales. I think that every business around that year, around year 4, 3, 4, that's when business 3, 4, 5, between 3 and 5. That's when
That's
business
when it
is
gets
fail.
tough, kinda,
Yeah,
yeah.
because as a business owner, you have to grow,
Yes.
and so
Yes,
it's going to
yeah.
challenge you somewhere. So I just was in that space of like having to grow, but not really knowing what direction to go in. And one thing happened after another, and God really intervened, and then Bill Clinton ended up walking in my space.
Wow.
And then that
Game
was
over,
it.
huh?
It
Game
was game
over.
over after
Wow.
that. Like, it went viral, and then we was back on track. But what I did was I had let it go. I was like, you know what, God, if you want me to move out this space and go back to being a personal chef, I just don't want the stress anymore
Right.
of trying to keep all this together myself. And it was during election year. That's what happened.
That was good. You gave it to God, though. Said,
I
you know
sure
what?
did.
I'm done. Go ahead. You can taste above my pay grade. You can go ahead and have it.
I couldn't do it though. I was like, at this point, I was like down to like 2, 3 employees. I was working open to close. I had a son. I was a single mother. It was like a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot on your plate. Literally. You know what I mean? That's a lot on
and
the
God
plate.
was like,
literally.
okay, you finally let me take control of this. I'm gonna go ahead and show you the miracles I can work. And then Bill Clinton walked in literally like that weekend.
Golly,
It
crazy.
was crazy. And
That's
so we
good.
stayed open another 3.5 years.
It's a good run. It's a
Yeah,
good run.
yeah.
It's a good run. So now you have the food truck, right? And so what's the schedule? I know you do pop-ups and, certain events and stuff like that. Now, how would you compare those two? And is the food truck, is it more freedom? You ain't so really tied down and you can kind of move around?
Yeah, definitely. So first, shout out to my business partner, Michelli. She's amazing. She has a beautiful family. They all chip in. Everybody helps with the food truck.
Okay.
So definitely want to acknowledge her.
Okay.
And so we just built the food truck out like a couple of months ago, and then
Really?
it was in the shop for
It's
like
nice.
2 months.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
nice.
So-
Decoration,
Thank
art,
you.
and all
Yeah,
that. It
we
looks
did
phenomenal.
everything. We
Did
built
ya?
out the whole thing from scratch. We got it from Michelli's dad. Actually, had the truck in New York, and we shipped it here. And then we built it out. All the equipment's brand new. We built it out exactly
Golly.
how we wanted it, and it's been great. So we are. We have a residency at Wallflower Cannabis House. That's on Blue Diamond and like between Jones and Rainbow.
Okay,
And
kinda
we're
out
there
there.
every Monday and Thursday from 6 to 9
Okay,
in
so-
the
okay,
evening.
okay,
Yeah. And
Monday
then
and
we
Thursday.
do different events throughout the city. But if you go to the website, it's simply purelv.com.
Okay.
Then we have the schedule up there with the menu and all of that. Yeah.
Where you be located and stuff
yeah,
like
we
that.
have it up. I just updated it yesterday. So it's
Okay.
pretty accurate, yeah.
I know you was at the Stellar Awards too recently, right? Did you
We
go
were
to the-
supposed to be at the Stellar Awards, but we couldn't. We opted not to do it because anything that takes us away from the residency has to be something that's really. It was a celebrity basketball game.
So it probably didn't
So-
garner the same weight, as
Right,
being,
and we
okay.
have to be we have to be consistent,
That's
on
true.
Mondays and
That's
Thursdays.
true,
So we
yeah.
really do our best to just be there those days because it's becoming like we're becoming more popular. Like more
More like
people
a
now
fixture
know.
there now.
Exactly, because
Yeah,
my
yeah.
customers were like, we when you had the restaurant, you were just at the restaurant, so we knew what days and times you were there. So we needed some consistency in our schedule.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah, we
And what about the other days of the week? Are you anywhere else, or it's just kind of
we are.
open?
Yeah,
just-
we are. So it's on the schedules on the website.
Okay,
So if you go to the website,
simplypurelv.com. Yeah, make sure y'all check that out.
yeah, and then the schedule is there, so because different things pop up. The July schedule, we only have one out. We're doing Mountaintop Faith Ministries Church.
Okay.
On
Do you go to that church?
my mom and my dad. My dad was a deacon at the church.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah,
Pastor
I guess you could
House
say we
and
go.
all them, them
We've been
lady
going
house.
there for like 30 years. So
Is that right?
they're all
Yeah,
Candace.
okay,
They're all my
okay.
friends.
They
Yeah.
done seen you come up and everything.
Yeah, they have.
okay,
So
yeah.
when they found out we had the truck past the house, actually, I told him first, and he was immediately like, "Yes, get on the schedule." So
Y'all
we're
gonna
there.
pull up over there?
Yeah, we pull up there every the last Sunday of every month.
Oh,
We're there.
okay. That's big. Yeah,
So,
okay.
yeah.
Man, you really connected out here, man.
Thank
really
you.
Connected,
Yeah. Been doing, long time. My parents been out here for a while, so they were able to establish some things too. So yeah.
Lay the foundation.
Right.
I seen you did the Juneteenth thing. How was that? The Juneteenth festival.
That was amazing. Shout out to Jay, who put that together. That was amazing. That was our first time doing that event.
Really?
And
pretty big turnout. Was that the one that was where was that at? Was it
was at the World Market
At the
Center.
World Market,
Yeah,
okay.
It was huge.
Yeah.
That was his. I can't remember how many years he's been doing it, but that was our first time participating, and he had to have at least 6,000-7,000 people there.
Like good reception, good reception.
Yeah. People were coming up to the truck. They were excited. That was the truck had been in the shop for almost 8 weeks, and so that was our first day back on the road. Okay. That was our first event back.
What a day back, huh?
Yeah, that was crazy. It was crazy. I had everybody on deck, all employees. I probably had too many people working, but it was cool. We had a good time. We had a great time.
That's good. And then being plugged in the community, people, knowing you and stuff like that. I know you. I seen you friends with Rosalind Brooks too, right?
That's my girl.
Yeah, shout out to Roz. Yeah, she's doing her thing. Yeah. She got the garden and all that.
She had the garden. She closed the garden.
Did she?
She closed it a few years ago.
I didn't know that.
But she has a company now, or like an organization she
that
started called
BIN?
Wynn. Yeah,
BIN,
Blacks in Nature.
Yeah.
And she takes people out, all these African Americans who who love doing things outdoors, and takes them hiking. She goes to Reno. They do all types. She started a swimming class for adults that don't know how to swim.
She's been doing a lot. They active too. They're really active. Yeah. How did y'all meet? How did y'all cross paths?
She used to come to my when I first came back from Ghana, I started doing cooking classes out of my house too. I was doing everything. I was hustling.
God, out the house.
So she out the house, and she found out about my classes, and she used to roll up to my house on a motorcycle, and I was like, "Who is this black girl on a motorcycle? Like, this is super dope." Then she was like, "Yeah, I got a." She had a car repair business, and I still use it. I still use her mobile service. And she was like, that's how we became friends. She used to come to my classes, and now we're like, that's my girl.
Y'all kind of in the same lane.
Health,
the same
health and wellness.
Yeah.
She's 50-something, looking amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how you can tell people living a good, healthy life. You should never look your age. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to say, like, how old are you? You should never look your age.
Right,
that's how you can tell. I know I have my issues, up and down with it. My wife is vegan. She don't eat nothing. I'm trying. I did it for a little while, but the nature of my job, I burn so many calories. I work for UPS, so it's kind of hard to eat enough to maintain weight because I don't want to keep losing weight. So just got to get better choices. But I tried it for a little bit, and then I felt, and then people think, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, it's a misconception that you don't necessarily have to get all your protein from meat, right? Because I know some of the biggest animals, you think, gorillas or whatever, they don't eat no meat.
Right.
They're plant-based, right?
This is true. Yeah.
So can you speak to that myth about being able to still get your, with your daily requirements from being plant-based?
Yeah, so it's really just a mindset change first. And then you do have to, like, if you're going from a carnivorous diet to eating vegan, I recommend just doing some research, but you get your protein from beans. Like I eat beans and rice, that's a complete protein. I eat hemp seeds, that's
quinoa,
protein.
Quinoa, I love
I eat tofu, I eat all those things. I try to eat things that come from the earth, because we were talking about, how they have a lot of products that are vegan now, like the burgers and all the possible, and that's okay, but there's a lot of ingredient, and those things are made in a plant, like literally a plant is made in a plant,
Okay, and I see like the back of packages, like the longer the ingredient list is, that's
the worse. You understand. So I mean, I'm not saying that I don't eat Impossible and Beyond and all that.
It's just not
but
crazy.
It's not the best, way to get your protein and eat healthy. So really, it's just a matter of getting a few things in your diet that you can substitute, and lentils are good. Like there's all kinds of things. I mean, we could go on.
Lentils.
But,
lentils are
but
and you
eating
stay
from the
fuller longer
too,
even because it's nutrient dense.
It's
nutrient dense.
You're eating nutrients. You're not just eating like empty calories.
You need a little bowl like that and be filled.
Exactly.
You need a McDonald's with 1,300 calories, and 2 hours later,
because your body, there's no nutrients. So you're exactly right about that. So
like empty calories, huh?
And then you know, a lot of times, like I tend to really be cognizant of eating for health too, you know, and teaching people how to eat for health as well. Because you have a lot of people, like especially in our community,
I was about to say
who
that,
are suffering from my obesity, high blood pressure, diabetes unnecessarily. You know, even in my own family, like my mom went down to go take care of my sister because her sister, because she was sick because she wasn't eating properly. So she got some gastrointestinal stuff going on. So my mother's down there cooking for her because my mother cooks vegan too and very healthy. And so, you know, it's really a matter of like people being cognizant about what they're eating and making that shift. And I'm not saying that everybody has to be vegan. I don't think that everybody needs to be vegan. I think you need to eat according to your blood type too. Like I'm a blood type A.
Yeah,
so
and I heard that's really important too with your blood type.
Yeah, but you have some people that are O, and O blood types need a little bit of meat in their diet. But it's about being but it's about being balanced. You know, like you can't be having a whole plate of meat and then you don't have nothing else. You know, you eating meat every day. Like, come on, you know, it's like.
Because I think it was about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I got diagnosed with type 2, you know, high blood sugar. It's under control now, but it made me start doing more and more research. So I changed my diet like completely, but I found out that a lot of animal protein is causing that. And it was not so much the sugar, but the saturated fat in animal protein would clog up.
Exactly.
And so it wouldn't allow the insulin to get to my cells. I used to eat and be hungry. I start and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. But with plant-based, you know, stuff goes where it needs to go. It's not sticking in your...
Exactly.
So it's just phenomenal.
And I tell people, like, the earth, so the human body is so connected to the earth. So there's 102 minerals in the earth, in the soil. And those same minerals are what our bodies are made up of. In addition to that, our bodies are also made up of water, like 75 to 85% water. So that's a lot of people's problems, too, is that they just don't drink enough water as well. Like, you got to drink half your body weight.
Dehydrated.
Especially here in Vegas, like you guys, it's hot, you know. So you may not be sweating because it's a dry heat, but you're still, you know, dehydrated. So I tell people like water is super important, and then eating those nutrients from the earth so you can replenish yourself.
And then even eating like fruits and vegetables that have a high water content too. Because you get liquid food, but then you can eat your water too, right? Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting too because I actually I wrote a book recently, and it's an ebook you can get on the website, and it's how to do a 3-day liquid cleanse.
Is it the Glow?
It's the Glow Up.
I just ordered it too.
You did?
I just ordered it.
Yeah, it's called the Glow Up. And I did it because in December, I had never done a 3-day liquid cleanse. I never did 3 days without eating. I tried, but I didn't. But I felt like I needed to do it because I felt like I had some blockage, just not only physically, but mentally, spiritually. And so I did the 3-day cleanse, and the way I felt afterwards, it was amazing. So I wrote the book, and then I did the 3-day cleanse again, but this time I incorporated my mom and my cousins and everybody, and we all did it together. And I was like, everybody was like, yo, this is amazing. So I tell people, like, every season you should do a 3-day liquid cleanse. Just don't eat for 3 days.
So every like spring, winter, fall, kind of like every quarterly, almost something like that.
You should do some kind of cleanse when the seasons change. Some kind of something, because that's when people start. You notice that's when everybody gets sick when the seasons change. They're like, oh, I get sick. I'm sick because it's going to be going into fall, and I'm like, no, you're sick because it's time to cleanse.
It's time. You get backed up. You need to get that stuff out.
Right.
Man, that's phenomenal, man. I ordered. I can't wait to get into it. My wife does I think they did Roz's program where they did 30 days juice, 30 days raw.
Okay.
And then something. It was like a total reset. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, that really takes a lot of mental fortitude to go in there. But it's so good for your body.
It is. And I'm going to tell people 30. I'm like 3 days. You can do
3 days is good.
Something that's approachable.
Yeah,
that's why I said 3 days, because that's approachable.
I think they were just doing that program that was intense. But 3 days is good.
30 days is good too. That's
juice, like because that's what your body turns it into anyway, right? Like it breaks down everything and makes it like a liquid anyway for you to get it. So
the juicing just helps so your body's not like working so hard, you know, like
breaking all your organs,
And people are like, oh, what if I get hungry? I'm like, well, you can drink an unlimited amount of juice on the cleanse. You don't have and water. You know, you're supposed to drink water too. So it's not like you're just drinking a certain amount. Like I was drinking about 3 32 ounces of juice a day, and then like 2 32 ounces of water. So I'm just drinking. So you're gonna use the bathroom a lot, but you also
but it's
gonna feel
good
amazing.
Though. It's getting out. It's getting out of you. I'm gonna definitely get back on it. I said I gotta do something, you know.
Yeah,
do something.
yeah, of course.
And like just going forward, just being healthier, living longer and all that, all that stuff.
Having more and living longer and living more quality life.
Quality,
people
right.
living,
Yeah.
but then they sick. You gotta take drugs, pills, and all
and what I heard it put the best way. They said either food will be your medicine or medicine will be your food.
Yes.
So it's like you make the choice.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
You
I'm
make
like
the
that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense, man.
Yeah.
So now we talked about. I know you kind of doing a rebranding that you're getting into more plant-based medicinal cooking and stuff like that. So what inspired that? What inspired that part of it?
So I started consuming cannabis and just learning about the healing aspects of cannabis when my son was around 1 year old. He's 8 now, so about 7 years ago.
Okay.
And I started consuming cannabis just because I needed like another like something to relieve the stress. And the mental of running a business. Like I said, being a single mother and then dealing with just the things of life. And I just needed something to kind of calm me. So at that time, I had a really good friend. Shout out to Dwell. He had gone to prison, and when he came out, he needed to have he couldn't get a job because he was a felon. So he started growing cannabis out of his house, making butters and stuff. So he introduced me. He was like, "Here, I'm gonna bring you something." And he brought it over to me, and it was great. Like the strains he was growing were more indicas, and so it was like very calming and relaxing. And then there's no health detriments to consuming cannabis.
Okay, because you consuming it in another form,
right? And I'm not putting it in blunts. I'm putting it in clean in cones and papers and hemp papers and things like that. So he taught me how to really eat, drink, smoke clean. Now he's in Oregon running a whole cultivation. He's like amazing.
Yeah, Oregon's probably big.
He moved there and he's doing really well there. But at any rate, I just kept going with it, and so now I'm cooking with it, but I'm doing it more from a medicinal standpoint. Like how do we help people with PTSD or anxiety, depression, that kind of thing, and
calm them down and
now I'm moving into the study of psilocybin and how to cook with
I've seen
psilocybin.
that. Yeah, what is it? Psilocybin? Explain that. What is that? It's more like what? Like
that's medical mushrooms.
Okay, I've seen that. I've seen it on your Instagram post.
So I've been into that. So I just finished I did a full dose, and then I did a 30-day microdose. I was microdose, and I wasn't consuming cannabis at the time. And honestly, I prefer psilocybin over the microdosing. Over the cannabis. I like both, but I like psilocybin because it really gives you, it like rewires your brain, for happiness. And so I have a friend here.
Like those neurons and all that.
It's really a healing medicine, more on like the mental level.
So you experienced it firsthand.
Yeah. I did it on myself first because I wanted to see before I started cooking, like really talking about it. And I could tell the change just in my countenance and my spirit. Like I said, I was feeling blocked and things like that. So I started it like the end of May, and I just finished, I finished my lab. Actually, I didn't. So some days I would skip taking the psilocybin because I didn't feel like I needed it, but I wasn't consuming cannabis during that time. So I didn't consume cannabis for like almost 40 days. And I went
detox from it, huh?
Yeah, I went from consuming cannabis every day to microdosing the psilocybin because I didn't want to mix the two. I wanted to see exactly what the psilocybin
what did what
was.
And what,
and the psilocybin, the medical mushrooms is amazing. So there isn't a lot of research on it. Unfortunately, it's still illegal.
It's still kind of, is it?
It is. It is, but
still kind of new too?
It's new, but my friend who, she's a master in psilocybin education, and she has successfully helped people with PTSD, with anxiety, because she also works from that healing aspect. Because you have people who also are doing psilocybin medical mushrooms, and they out there just partying.
Yeah, they're doing it for the recreation.
And it's cool if you want to do that. But I am more into the healing aspect. How do we help people? Because people are going crazy nowadays.
Right. And especially in this era, it's bad.
It's bad.
Yeah,
and so we need to like figure out how to balance this and
people
how to help
people. People are losing it.
And rightfully so. And so like I feel like we have some of the answers. If we can help people heal with this psilocybin, with the medical mushrooms, and if I can be a part of that research on how to rewire the brain. And then also with the food cleansing, healing. A lot of stuff people hold in their gut.
Right, man. The gut is like they said. The gut is like the second brain. And everything starts in the
1,000.
gut.
You see, you got a lot of knowledge about this stuff.
A little bit. I try to do my research. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I try to do it.
This is true. Yeah,
and it's no joke. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's really no joke. I just had my first colonoscopy Monday.
Oh, good.
And it's going through the process of it.
Yeah.
And like even after, I'm like, you know what? I don't even want to eat right now. And I went like the 2 days of cleansing out, and I'm like, I kind of got used to it. I'm like, I want to kind of stay clean. You know
That's
what
why
I mean?
you had to go and get the juice in.
I had,
on the
just
way
kind of,
here.
trying to. I'll be back and forth with it. Like I said,
Yeah.
I still like a hamburger and a chicken wing here and there, but
It's all good.
I eat more salad. You know what I mean? So I just try because I want to maintain my weight. That's the main thing. So I just trying to do the right thing and be healthy about it. But I noticed too that you are partnered with the Super Bowl too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
How did that
thank
happen?
goodness. That's
How
a
did that
beautiful
happen?
thing.
That's the one coming up here in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Wow, man! Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah. I was blessed after the restaurant closed. Actually 2 weeks after the restaurant closed, we closed the restaurant in 2021 April. I got a call from the Super Bowl. One of there's a black woman there. There's a few black women over there now.
That's a good look. That's a good look.
And they called me and they were like, "Hey, can you cater an event for us?"
What?
So I've actually been catering for Allegiant Stadium for the past 2 years, low key. I don't really talk about it that much.
It's
but
really low. Okay.
Yeah, I don't really. But so when it came time for the Super Bowl pitch, we had to do a whole thing. It wasn't like
it wasn't just a shoe in.
Oh
huh?
no.
Really?
This I had to go. You had to go do like a whole. Imagine Shark Tank. You know that show Shark Tank.
On another
you had
level.
To do that. You had to do that. You had to go in. You had to present. You had to do your thing. And
really?
So we did our thing, and luckily we were.
Man, congratulations!
Thank you. We were one of the 200 businesses selected.
That's going to be in.
That will be in the Super Bowl. So what we are, we're vendors, and we're other outside companies can come and hire us for their services.
Wow, that's big.
So
that is huge, man.
It's exciting. I'm very excited, and we're the only plant-based business in that was selected.
That's
so,
amazing. Everybody got ribs and chicken and all that,
exactly.
but that plant-based game is like you kind of separate yourself.
So
you separate yourself.
I was like telling my business partners, like, we got to get another food truck before the Super Bowl. Like,
yeah.
So come and support us, y'all, so we can get another food truck.
Is it another person like a chef like you that like your right-hand person or something? Is it like that do what you do or like what like?
I do have people on my team who, can cook pretty well that I've trained.
Okay,
So, but there's like nobody like to. I don't have a successor yet.
Okay, right. I just like somebody that. Okay,
I have a great team though of people who know. I don't have to make all the food. Like they know how to make stuff.
Okay,
I still have some of my employees from the restaurant.
Okay,
I still have a few of them. So.
That's good.
Yeah.
Doing big things, man. Like I say, just looking at your posts and stuff, you really clean. I seen that nachos grande you had. That looked pretty good
the
too.
Nachos, that's one of the most popular dishes. That was a popular dish when I had the Container Park location.
And the Mamma Mia, was it like
lasagna,
lasagna? I'm like, you wouldn't think that stuff is like plant based, but I think that's the beauty of plant based.
Those are actually our two top dishes.
Are they?
Lasagna and nachos. Yeah.
I remember I seen Russell Simmons was on Snoop Dogg's show, GNC, and Russell's like a vegan, and he brought a meatball sandwich, and they ate it, and Snoop couldn't believe it was vegan.
Yeah,
I said, man, that's what I'm talking about. That thing looks good. You know what I mean?
What I'm saying?
People just got to educate themselves. It is other options out there, other healthy options out there.
Yeah, and that's what it is about educating people. I'm really looking to do more things on the historic West Side well. Like let's talk about that because that historic West Side. It unnerves me because it's a food desert over there. It's been a food desert for a long time. There's no grocery stores.
Nothing.
There's nothing. The healthiest thing over there is Panda Express.
Right.
But like Panda Express, really, So every time I go over there, I don't like it because I always have to leave the community in order. I want to spend my money in the community. So
it's not one place over there with a healthy option. Man. And, we talked about for our people. Do you think it's a stigma about because we eat bad, and we think we doing good when we can eat bad. How somebody will post a plate of ribs, and we really think we doing something by eating like that.
Yeah. No, so I mean, it's just again education and getting this. So, shout out to Councilman Creer.
Councilman Creer,
really good friend of mine. That's his ward.
Okay.
And so I had a kind of call with him a few weeks ago about bringing the truck over to and doing some events there, and just bringing the truck over to that area and I would like to open up like a small something because we were
small,
talking about opening up another restaurant. I'm like, I'd like to open up a little small cafe over there.
Something
just
small,
so something can come in, somebody
just
can
so
come
you
and get a green
something.
juice, right? And then shout out to Mario's. He's moving to a bigger location.
Yeah, he is.
So
moving into the old CVS joint, right?
Yeah, so there'll be some. And then there's a brothers. They have a company called Green Side Up Farm.
Do they?
They do vertical tower growing. So they're taking over the Carter's grocery store. They're working on that right now. So there's some movement happening.
It needs to be a little
healthier.
more visibility, though, huh?
Yeah, I mean it's coming. It's taking a minute. They have the city has the 100 plan is what it's called, and that's the whole revitalization of the historic West Side. But I'm really invested in that because that's where our people live.
That's right. Yeah.
And I'm over there a lot.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
And
right.
I'm
like you say, you don't want to go outside
the
the community. You know,
I want to leave and keep our money in the community.
That's true.
And,
that is true.
There's nothing over there, and I feel like we're the ones to go ahead and bring that healthy aspect to the historic West Side.
You're probably the one to pioneer something like that.
That's what we're looking at. Yeah, that's what we're looking to do.
Yeah,
so I'm excited about that one.
That's great, man. That's great, man. Well, appreciate you coming through. We're going to wrap this thing up. Anything else you need to know, drop all your information where people can find you. You on Instagram
at Simply Pure LV.
Okay.
That's at Simply Pure LV on Facebook, on Instagram. If you just Google Simply Pure, we come up. So,
and then Chef Stacey too.
Chef Stacey Dougan.
Okay,
at Simply Pure LV everywhere. That's really... It's easy. It's easy to find.
It's easy, simple and easy.
You go to the website simplypurelv.com, and that's where we have where I keep like all of our events and stuff up to date.
And got some good information, some good ebooks and recipes and stuff like that.
I have a recipe book. I have an ebook, e-recipe book. I have the glow up, the 3-day juice cleanse book.
It's an e-recipe book on there too. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna definitely get that too.
Recipe book on there. So I'm excited. There's so many exciting things coming up. So
big things coming up. Chef Stacey, Simply Pure. Anything else we can expect from you coming up in this year, or coming up, soon, or even the rest of the year?
Just all the things we talked about.
The SuperBowl,
getting the Super Bowl stuff happening. Our back to school. We're going to be doing some back to school things with the kids.
Yeah, that's coming
with the
up.
families. I think we're going to start meal prep again from the truck because now.
So how does that work? Can you buy meal prep? Like, can you buy some items for like the week or something?
Yeah, so I used to do meal prep, but I stopped because I had to streamline everything. So now I was just telling my business partner, I think we should do meal prep through the food truck.
Definitely let me know.
So,
I definitely want to be.
Thank you.
Definitely
so you order for the week. So we have like a set menu, maybe 5 or 6 things to choose from. You can get how many meals you want.
You set,
and then you come and pick it up from the truck on the specific days. We'll probably do it Monday and Thursday because we're already out. We deliver also, but I try to get people just come to one.
Right, just come. Right,
location.
that makes sense.
Yeah, and then you we package up your meals and you can pick them up. And so I was doing that on my own for a while, but like I said, I wanted to kind of move all the food stuff to the truck so I can mostly focus on like the cannabis dining experiences and stuff. So that's really what I'm working on next for my personal brand is more like moving into the plant medicine space, and then all the food stuff will push through the food truck. Okay. So yeah.
Beautiful, man. Can't wait, man. Definitely. So I appreciate you. The streets of Vegas, Chef Stacey, simplypurelv.com. We signing off from Vegas Hype Media Network. Shout out to my man Quan. We'll catch you on the next episode. Appreciate you coming through, my sister.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
You think it ain't real out here in these streets? It's real out here in these streets.
The streets